Yeah, the Wednesday edition, Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber offices. One call, that's all. Studio at the Avenue, downtown Milwaukee. Joshy DiMaggio along for the ride as always. Hunter Vaughn back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Lots to get to following the holiday on Monday. Divisional round weekend in the books. A rookie quarterback is in the NFC Championship game. Makes you feel good about where the Packers are at, doesn't it? Eagles, Commanders. Winner goes to the Super Bowl and represents the NFC. And really fun one in the AFC. It's Chiefs and Bills. Chiefs still looking for their third straight Super Bowl win. But the Buffalo Bills, man, looking to get one under their belt finally. After years and years and years away from the Super Bowl, they are one game away, 4 quarters away. But they've got to go to Kansas City in order to do it. Do want to talk a little Packers today as the offseason continues and we continue to kind of dissect what the Packers want them to do over the course of the next few months. These Bears have a new head coach, and boy, is he corny. We'll get to Ben Johnson in a little bit. I will tell you about my second rendition of my free agency crush after some news this morning. We'll get Joshy's take on that. We will play some one word on a Wednesday as always, and we will get to what we learned. But let's start with this. So watching games this weekend, right? Watching the Lions and Commanders, Chiefs and Texans, Bills and Ravens, watching all those games. And I'm just tweeting out as I always do. I'm kind of Joshy hates this about me. I'm kind of just in the moment, one sentence tweeter. It's just how I roll, right? So like last night, big time play by John Tanji when I was watching the Badger game. So I throw out these one sentence thoughts, but sometimes they get some intriguing replies. Do you want to roast me before we get to the point here, Joshy? The floor is yours.
No, I mean, for Packers game, it makes sense. Sometimes you don't really say a lot or offer a lot.
I don't.
But it is the all-time, it's your core. It's the sports media dork who tweets out stuff that most people are already watching. Like, that's just what it is.
Why'd you call me a sports media dork?
I mean,
that seemed unnecessary.
I mean, if people knew the true Alex Strouf and all he knows about, quite frankly, irrelevant radio programs happening across the country, they would be astounded. Like, no one needs that information.
It's true. There's
no need to know what's going on in Tallahassee's radio.
Okay. Now you're taking it a step too far. I don't know what's going on in Tallahassee.
Okay, Oklahoma City.
The Monster, I believe, the Sports Monster is their station down in OKC.
See, you're a sports media nerd.
I am. That's true.
You were doing it in high school.
But what does this have to do?
I was smoking dope and drinking beers.
Hey, who said I wasn't doing that?
It'd be hard to find time for it between the Green Bay Phoenixes matchup, whoever they were playing, whatever nowhere school. Hey,
I was well rounded. But yeah, I am a dork. But what does that have to do with my one sentence tweets?
Because that's what sports media guys do.
Oh, you're grouping me in with them?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's your foundation.
Wait
it's your
a minute.
core.
So you don't respect me?
No, I didn't say I didn't respect you. I'm just saying that's a thing those guys do. Like, we'll be watching a nationally televised AFC Championship game, and one of the Chiefs beat writers will be like, unnecessary roughness happened. That is a first down, and the Chiefs are in the red zone now. And it's like, thank you.
But I don't do that. Like, here, I'll read you some of my tweets from the weekend. All right. Unreal punch out. Horrible timing for Andrews. That's a complete game changer. It's one of my tweets.
That one actually has a thought. Game changer. A lot of times you just provide a
How about
exclamation.
This one? And then after the Mark Andrews drop 2-point conversion, I tweeted, that is an insane way to likely lose.
Also, why are you hedging? Of course they were going to lose.
Because crazier things have happened. There was still time on the clock.
And here's the other thing. What did that thought provide to the conversation at hand?
It's good to reflect, Joshua. This is why I pulled you in. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So anyway, I was tweeting during the Bills-Ravens game. I just tweeted, you'll like this one.
Oh, boy.
And it applies right now. I tweeted 2 words. Damn, Josh. And that was in response to Josh Allen, not you.
Could be anything.
Could be about you, too. Our buddy Brandon from Tulsa replied to that tweet and said this, and I thought it was actually very interesting because I just wanted to then get a pulse of Packers fans. So he said, after watching the games this weekend, I'm worried that GB, Green Bay, isn't close to these teams, like 2 to 3 years away. So I just quote tweeted that and I said, is anybody else feeling like Brandon? And I got a slew of responses. Some people saying yes, some people saying no. I lean very much no. I'm not worried that they're that far away because, right, a year ago, the Packers were playing and in the game on that weekend. And I don't think this is a team that took a huge backslide from 2023 and 2024. They won more games in the regular season. I get they were getting beat up by really good teams in the NFC. See the Eagles, see the Lions, see the Vikings, lost each of them twice. But this is still a team that needs a couple things, right? Like, these are the things, most importantly, I view that the Packers need to clean up. And they can be where the Commanders are this weekend in the NFC Championship game next year. Number one, quarterback play needs to be cleaned up. We know he's capable of it. He dealt with injuries all year in Jordan Love. We know he's capable of cleaning it up. The other thing they need is an improvement at the pass rush position. They took the first step by acknowledging there was an issue there, by firing Jason Rebrovich, their defensive line coach and pass rush game coordinator, defensively. So internally, you're going to have a shakeup at the coaching position, and I imagine they're going to address that in some capacity, whether that be in the draft, whether that be in free agency, whether that be in both. They're going to upgrade that area. Corner, I imagine that's probably a draft thing, right? Like, maybe they go out and get my first free agent crush we talked about last week in DJ Reed, who's a number one corner and a veteran. We'll see. But corner is something they need to figure out. And then the last thing on the short list is they need somebody, whether that's externally or internally, to emerge as the number one pass catcher. And that can't happen internally, right? Jaden Reed could finally take that consistent jump we thought he was going to take in 2024. He could do that in 2025 in year 3. So a lot of these problems that I'm throwing out there can be solved internally, which is what makes me feel good about this team's chances in 2025. So I did not watch football this weekend going, yeah, the Packers are really far away. Now, when you get to this time of year, one of those issues I outlined prevails for good football teams that are now playing on championship weekend. And that's the pass rush. I mean, when you were watching those games this weekend, the teams that won those games had a really good pass rush. They were getting after the quarterback. The Packers were virtually incapable of that all season long. So that is probably the biggest red flag going forward for the Packers. But I'm not discouraged after watching Divisional Round weekend and heading into championship weekend. I still feel like this team certainly has the opportunity to make the NFC Championship game next year. I think the division's more open than it was this year. And we'll get to that a bit later when we talk about Ben Johnson, the now former Lions offensive coordinator, taking the head coaching job with the Bears. But I do not feel discouraged. Joshy, I'm curious, when you read Brandon's tweet and when you were watching Divisional Round football this weekend, did you have the same feeling as Brandon, or are you more Team Strouf here?
I mean, I don't remotely feel that way. I think you have to take into context what we were watching. We were watching teams, and the ones that advanced, 3 of the 4, have now been building for anywhere between 4 to 5 years and 7 to 8. So do I think the Bills and the Chiefs are probably further ahead in terms of building championship contenders? Yes.
Naturally, yes.
Because, yes, Josh Allen is going to be entering his 8th season, and Patrick Mahomes his 9th. I think by the time next season starts, like, yeah, of course, if you weren't building towards that, you would be tearing it all down. Because that's just the nature of how it goes. So, obviously, the Packers are still a team that's ascending. We were well aware of that. It seems like we've become such prisoners of the moment. Like, Matt LaFleur isn't a good head coach anymore, needs to be fired, and we need a guy like Dan Campbell or Dan Quinn because they are the guys of the moment. It was not even 2 years ago that it was like, you need one of these Shanahan, McVay, Zach Taylor, Kevin O'Connell guys if you really want to be successful in the current day NFL. Like, these things all ebb and flow. And there's multiple paths to get there. Like, people are already out on Jordan Love. I've heard more Malik Willis talk than I've ever wanted to hear since the end of the season.
That's insufferable, by the way, but continue.
Like, the Packers fell short of their goal. There is no denying that. I don't think Brian Gutekunst is going to put up his feet and say, my job here is done with this team, and what we've got is what we're going to keep, and that's how it's going to be. He recognizes the issue at pass rush. He recognizes the inconsistency from the wide receivers. He knows you need better cornerbacks after Jair is going to be gone. Like, all of these things are what you build. Like, are the Bills failures because they haven't beaten Patrick Mahomes and won a Super Bowl yet? Or are you trying to, like, build a team for the future, a sustainable one? Like, if you're buying stock in a team, obviously Jane Daniels being in the NFC Championship game is incredible. It's an aberration, mostly. This doesn't happen.
No.
But that team is not deep. They have a lot of old players that they're relying on that are largely rentals. So they're going to have to figure out how they're going to build in free agency and in the draft to try and keep it up. Because Jane Daniels is playing the best quarterback, probably, period, of everyone. And
I would say yes.
That's a good recipe.
Yeah.
But how is that going to happen? We've seen the Lions, their brain drains happening. They're losing everyone.
Brain drain.
They're like losing their offensive line coach. They're losing, obviously, the two coordinators. Like, there's going to be reconfiguration. You're going to have to figure this stuff out.
Yeah. So really well said. And I think maybe why people feel that way is seeing Jaden Daniels, his true rookie season, get to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, his first year as a starter, obviously not his rookie season last year, was a quarter away from getting to the NFC Championship game. And he just did not play his best football this year. But keep in mind, C.J. Stroud had a terrific rookie year last year. Didn't get to the AFC Championship game, took a massive backslide in 2024. Still got to the Divisional Round for the second year in a row. But these things aren't always sustainable either. Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to be sustainable.
Yes.
Given what he's able to do with his legs. And he can fling that freaking football, man. He's really fun to watch. Good quarterback. This dates back to, I'm going to take my quick victory lap here, Joshy, before we get to the next topic. Remember Wild Card Weekend, which game I loved?
I thought you loved I don't remember. I know
Commanders, Buccaneers.
that game didn't deliver.
No, I think it was, 23-20, I think was the final.
Yeah.
I was expecting more points, but it's because I love those offenses and I love those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield. I did not expect him to get this far.
No.
But good
I'll
for him.
go down, and next year, if there's someone like Jaden Daniels, I'll bet against them again, because rookies don't usually do this.
No, they do not. So Jaden Daniels will become the sixth quarterback in NFL history, the rookie quarterback, to start in a championship game. The others, the company he joins, I'm going to try to rip this off the top of my head. It is Brock Purdy, Ben Roethlisberger, Sean King in 1999, and I'm missing the other two. I'll think of them.
Mark Sanchez,
and I don't remember the other one. Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was the other one with Baltimore. So that was really smooth by me. But
nailed it.
Information we learned 10 minutes ago, and I already forgot it. But could Jaden Daniels get the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think so. I think they can beat the Eagles. Will I pick them? Probably not. I think it'll be Eagles-Bills. And I'm only picking the Bills because I just don't want the Chiefs. The Chiefs are probably going to win. It's going to be Chiefs-Eagles. But I'm rooting for the Bills. And I'm rooting for the Commanders. I would love a different Super Bowl. So we will see. Quick breaking news coming through right now. Lions are also losing their defensive coordinator, as expected. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is going to accept the head coaching job with the New York Jets.
I hope they're paying him a lot of money.
I hope so. They're backing up that Brinks truck. No doubt about that. I mean, no doubt, right? Like, if you're going to go take that job, you better be getting paid.
Not only is there literally higher taxes in New York, but the tax of the Jets and everything that's going on there also comes with a premium.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what color Aaron Glenn's hair is, but if it's not gray already...
Does he have hair?
I don't know. I got to be honest with you, I do not know. But Aaron Glenn quoted as saying, "Done deal!" Exclamation point to looks like Ian Rappaport in a text message. Aaron Glenn, does he have hair? He does, and it's gray already, so he's good.
He's in the clear.
He's in the clear. So there you go. All right, so that begs the question now, coming off of this, is how close the Packers are to a Super Bowl.
Hang on, Strouf. Since you're starting to talk about Packers, I think this is a good time to let you know to be careful. The last video that I uploaded to our YouTube, you caused us to lose some subscribers to our YouTube channel. So I need you to know that to be careful with your takes, okay?
I don't know what you're referring to. Do I have to go look now?
No, literally, like we lost YouTube subscribers who clicked on your video. So
what was my video?
Talking about how the Packers need to admit their mistakes. So people saw your take and were like, "Nah, I'm done with this channel." So I just
how do you know it was related to mine?
Because it literally tells us in YouTube. I was doing some digging on some stuff on the back end, and yours had a negative number. All the other videos, positives. You were the one negative. That is the first video I've seen ever.
Hold on. How negative are we talking?
It was just a couple.
I'm reading the comments right now. Okay, so we got like 500 views. The title of the video is "The Green Bay Packers Need to Admit Their Flaws," which I stand by. The comments say this. I'll lose my bleep if we trot out those same wide receivers next season. That's one comment. The next one says, Packers just want to make the playoffs every year. Packers need more playoffs on both sides. Okay, that says nothing about me. The next comment says, good job, Alex. So that
Do
guy.
you think it's his face? Punchable?
It might be. All I know is that it said we lost subscribers. It was like
Congrats
2 subscribers, but still. We had people see your video and say, nah, we're done. So I'm just saying.
I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, be careful.
I'm sorry I'm not always drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I mean, in all fairness, I drink more Kool-Aid than anybody else.
Guzzle it.
I mean, what do you want from me here?
You basically swim around in the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. I shower in Kool-Aid. Practically. And the one time I say, hey, Packers need to take a look at what they've done wrong and fix it so they can go win a Super Bowl next season. Hunter's looking at the analytics and saying, people don't like this, Strouf.
All right, Hunter, plug your ears. I think you should try and lose even more this time. Get even more people that mad.
I'm not going to do that. Because the truth of the matter is, I don't think the Packers are that far off from the Super Bowl. I just don't. I view the NFC very open. Look who's in the NFC Championship game. Look who fell apart in the postseason. Detroit, Minnesota. The Washington Commanders have won back-to-back games on the road. The Eagles are good, and they're going to be good again next year as long as everybody stays healthy. But even after losing to the Eagles twice, I say they're beatable. The Packers did not play a good football game, and we're still very much in the game in the wild card round. Now, obviously, things are going to change. Players are going to evolve. Players are going to make jumps. Players are not going to live up to expectations. And that is not just the case for Green Bay. That is the case for all 32 teams in the National Football League. But to sit here and tell me that this team is 2 or 3 years away is bonkers to me. Because, number one, it's the youngest team in the NFL. And the stat that it keeps getting thrown around, and which I brought up in the YouTube video that apparently lost us subscribers, is that the youngest team in the NFL has never won a Super Bowl. It just hasn't happened. And I don't anticipate it's going to happen. Brian Gutekunst needs to add some veteran leadership on both sides of the ball, whether that's cheap depth pieces or legitimate playmakers and game wreckers. That's the point I'm trying to make. But the reason I make that point is because the Packers are not that far off. The Packers are very, 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 very much in the running. They've made the playoffs in back-to-back years. Their young quarterback is still learning the ropes and growing. And sure, he had his shortcomings. But year 3, hopefully, he's poised for a big jump and consistency, which was my word of the offseason with him. We saw more of it, but we also saw some mistakes and some mental errors and some bad throws from Jordan Love this year. Got to clean some of that stuff up, but I think you're crazy if you don't think he's capable of it. So, could the Packers be in the Super Bowl next year? My vote is yes. Could they be? Yes. Would they be my absolute runaway favorite? No. But Detroit, as I just mentioned, has lost both of their coordinators now. That is not an easy thing to respond to. As great of a leader as Dan Campbell has proven to be in Detroit, you're likely hiring from within, and you lose Ben Johnson, a really good offensive mind and play caller, Aaron Glenn, who's a really good defensive coach, and you lose your defensive line coach, who became the DC in New England. So you're losing a bunch of your coaching staff. Obviously, you're going to have some turnover with the roster in the NFL. Are the Lions going to be 15-win good next year? I don't think so. Could they be 13-win good? Yeah. Could they be 12-win? Of course. But are they going to be 15-win good again? No, probably not. So this conference is open, but it is on Brian Gutekunst. It is on the Green Bay Packers to now go out, admit your mistakes, and fill those holes. And it's on Jordan Love to take that next step. It's on Matt LaFleur to clean up some of his shortcomings that we very evidently saw down the stretch of this season. So that's that. Hope we gained our subscribers back, Hunter.
I hope so too. Because it's a little bit on me if we're losing subscribers too. So don't want to get in trouble with the bosses. I just thought I would let you know, so hopefully I don't get in trouble.
You couldn't have saved that for off the air?
No, because this is funnier. Let the world know that people don't like you.
People think you suck.
That was a good producer move.
Stop sucking. Suck less. Okay, I'll try, I guess. Who thought I would have dropped the name Sean Hill on today's show?
I mean, I feel like a lot of shows are dropping that name given the context that Jaden Daniels is trying to, join.
Sean King, not Sean Hill. Sean King.
Who's Sean Hill?
Sean Hill was a backup quarterback.
One of your friends?
No, Sean Hill played in Detroit, didn't he? Wasn't he quarterback? Oh, dude, I guess I texted you guys last night. I gotta tell the story now before we get to Ben Johnson and his corny stuff. So I many times, if you listen or watch the show on a regular basis, you have heard me call Packers first round pick Jordan Morgan Jacob Morgan without fail multiple times this year. So I got a wedding invite in the mail yesterday, and I was on the, you know how they have like those wedding websites now, Hunter? Like you go on there and they have all the information, hotels, and so this one happened to have the wedding party. And, these are two people I went to college with, went to Stevens Point with. I'll talk about Stevens Point a bit later. I mean, oh boy. But I went to Stevens Point with the couple that's getting married. So I went in there and I was like, I wonder how many of these I know. I was the flower boy in one of the bridesmaids' wedding in this upcoming wedding. I did this with, I knew this one guy from way back when, yada, yada, right? I'm scrolling. Groomsman, Jacob Morgan. When I see him in July, I'm going to say, dude, you got to change your name. Is that not the approach I should take, Joshy? I think I'm going to tell him he legally has to change his name to Jordan.
I would just tell him he's famous.
Yeah, I bring him up on my show 4 times a month.
I think you should open with that. I talk about you 4 times a month on the radio show I do.
I will. That's actually a great opening. Yes. He's going to go, I haven't seen you in 6 years. What do you mean?
Yes. Great icebreaker.
That would be.
And a nice little humble brag.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, do you come off as a douche if you're bringing up your show as the icebreaker?
Well, here's what I do.
Comes off that way.
I know, but I'm trying to help him out, Josh. I already cut him down once with the subscribers. I'm trying not to do it a second time.
Counterpoint, I could just cut this video and show it to him and say, hey, not trying to come off like a douche. Here you go.
Still coming off like a douche. You have the video prepared to meet him? That's weird.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's caused me so much stress this year, and he doesn't even know it. And it's not his fault at all. Poor guy.
I think the line, so-and-so lives in your head, is very corny, but he literally does in a way that you can't get out of it. Like,
no,
he's grabbed a hold of your brain and has had it in his clutches for years.
Yeah, well, not years, but
this year.
Yeah, this year.
And probably
future years. Yeah. Jordan Morgan is just going to be Jacob Morgan to me, which is not the best, but it is what it is. All right, so let's get to this. I mean, it's the offseason of a century for the Chicago Bears. Scratch that. This is as big as 1985 for the Bears. They got their guy. It's a new era in Chicago. Ben Johnson, the now former Lions offensive coordinator, officially accepts the Chicago Bears head coaching job, is introduced yesterday and today to the media. And look, I feel bad for head coaches, especially first-time head coaches. Because if you're a coordinator, sure, you're doing weekly press conferences, you're doing some media availability, but you are not the figurehead. You are not the center of the universe for a franchise when you're a coordinator. But when you're thrown into a head coaching job, and typically a new head coaching job is with a team that has not been performing very well the past few years, it's a weird spot because you're doing every interview, and you're doing social media videos, and you're talking to employees, whether they're in football operations or if they're in ticket sales or if they work in your pro shop, right? Like, you become the face of the franchise in a way that you have never been as a coordinator or an assistant coach or as a position coach. It is a very strange spot. So I feel bad for coaches, admittedly, because I think back to 2019 when Matt LaFleur was introduced as the head coach of the Packers. And number one, Mark Murphy talked for like 45 minutes straight at his introductory press conference. Matt LaFleur couldn't get a word in edgewise. But then when he could start speaking and started fielding questions at his introductory press conference, you could tell Matt LaFleur was visibly nervous. And obviously he's grown more comfortable as he gets further into the role, right? Entering, what will that be, year 6 next year. So he's gotten much better at that stuff. But his introductory press conference, I don't want to call it a train wreck because it wasn't, but he was just very obviously nervous because he had been a coordinator for a year and position coach otherwise. So he's just not doing a lot of media stuff. Ben Johnson, who has been the coordinator for the last several years in Detroit, has done some media, but has not done the I am the center of this franchise now media stuff. So let's start here. The Bears social media coordinator, I assume, hands him a phone yesterday and says, hey, can you just record a video for our Twitter quick? This is what Ben Johnson came up with.
All right, Bears Nation, get ready to go. Beyond fired up to be here. This is exciting times. Cannot wait to get to work. Bear down, baby.
Bear down, baby, says Ben Johnson. Just a little awkward. What was that, 9 seconds in length? I mean, not the most heartfelt speech to your starving fan base. Exciting times, man. I mean,
he looked dopey.
He's wearing the old school Bears hat with a polo. It looks like he just got off the golf range. Just not like the most endearing introductory to the fan base, right? So then Ben Johnson take it to another level today. So he has his introductory press conference with the media, and he's asked about his experience in the NFC North, right? Obviously, coming from Detroit, who's been a dominant team the last 2 years. He's a guy that obviously cleaned up on the NFC North by being the head coach of the offensive coordinator of the Lions this year. Like, he's got plenty of experience, sure. But he's asked about the NFC North and what is exciting to him about staying in this division. Here was his response to his introductory press conference earlier today.
I know this is the toughest division of football right now. There's 3 teams that made the playoffs this year. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. Having competed against them for the last 6 years. Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, you're talking about 2 guys that are up for Coach of the Year awards as the season ends here. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
He laughed at his own joke.
And the laughs he got were very forced.
Very forced. There's a couple different directions to take this. Number one, like I just said, I think he's nervous. He acknowledged that Dan Campbell, who obviously he's not going to talk any trash about, and Kevin O'Connell are up for Coach of the Year. And he transitioned that into, I enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. So you could draw a couple conclusions from that. Number one, it doesn't seem like they're the best of friends. After he says he has tremendous respect for the coaches and players in this league, and then goes, those guys are up for Coach of the Year award, and I beat this guy twice. Ha, ha, ha. It just comes off as, and look, maybe Bears fans are eating this up. I really don't know what the reaction down south is.
Oh, they're dopey, too.
Right, but it just seems, number one, incredibly forced. Like, he was staying up late last night writing that line. He was like, I can't wait to drop this.
Poor execution on it, too.
And then he was so proud of it. If you weren't watching on the video side, that awkward silence you heard at the end with faint laughter, he's just smiling ear to ear. He was so proud of that line. Good for the Bears. They think they did it again. I mean, let's think about the reception. I don't know that anybody was head over heels over Eberflus when he was hired.
No.
But they were about Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy brought excitement to Chicago back in, I think that was 2018 when he was hired. Maybe 2017. But Ben Johnson comes with a lot of hype. And rightfully so, right? What he's done with the Detroit offense the last few years is super impressive. but can it translate? Right? And this goes back to what I've talked about the last few weeks. Is this a short-term play or a long-term play? Clearly, it's a long-term play, right? I don't think you expect Ben Johnson to come in here and turn this into a 13-win team next year. It's just not extremely logical to think that's the possibility. Could it happen? Of course. Look what happened in Washington. But that's an experienced head coach. What I thought the Bears needed from an outside perspective was stability, which is why my biggest fear was Mike McCarthy was going to become the Bears head coach. He brings experience. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He's been a head coach now at two different historic organizations and done a really good job at both of those stops. In Dallas, he was good. If Dak was healthy, they were really good together. Obviously, in Green Bay, he was a coach there forever and won a Super Bowl and won a ton of division titles. The guy knows how to bring stability to a franchise that doesn't have a lot of it. And that's why I thought Mike McCarthy would have been the better short-term hire. Now, for Ben Johnson, it seems like he's obviously a better option long-term because he is young, he is a great offensive mind, and he knows how to elevate quarterback play. So can he help Caleb Williams take that next step? Sure. But there's a lot of other work to be done in a completely dysfunctional organization. And I don't think the hiring of Ben Johnson just makes you go, they're good now. Like, I can't get behind that. And I know Bears fans probably feel, oh, boy, we got the hot next option, right? Look at what Kevin O'Connell's done in Minnesota. Look what Zach Taylor did in Cincinnati. Look what Shanahan's done in San Francisco. Ben Johnson's kind of the next guy that is viewed in that caliber. But that's just not an immediate fix in what Ben Johnson just described as the toughest division in football. 3 of the teams in that division made the playoffs this year. The one that didn't is the one he's taking over, which was a hot dumpster fire. Now, is Ben Johnson a better option than Matt Eberflus? I think even on day one, we can probably say yes. But does that mean he's Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, Dan Campbell good? No. He did a good job as a coordinator. But there's zero proof in the pudding now. We have no idea what he's going to be as a head coach. We know what he is as a play caller, which is pretty good. And I assume he will keep those duties as the head coach. But there's still going to be problems defensively. You're still dealing with a quarterback who had plenty of hiccups. You still literally have me and Josh playing offensive line in Chicago. I didn't say Hunter. Well, actually, Josh, you actually played offensive line, didn't you?
Sure did.
Hunter, you didn't play offensive line, right?
I did in 6th and 8th grade when I played football.
What happened in 7th grade?
Grades.
Follow up. Oh, wow.
Bad grades.
Academic suspension.
Yeah.
Was that a suspension by the school or your parents?
Both. So, yeah, that was...
Wait, what do you mean both?
Well,
One, like, this is a chicken and the egg situation. One had to happen first.
no, it was my parents had a GPA in mind for me to be able to play football. The school had a lower one. I did not meet either of them.
Missed both.
Yeah. Double doinked it.
Good for you. Yeah, well, look where he is now. I mean, we're all in the same spot. It worked out all right.
I find it... So I would much prefer Ben Johnson not to be in the NFC North. I think he is a good offensive mind. I do think there is a case for him kind of reinventing the Bears in a way we haven't seen before, but history of the NFL is littered with as many guys like Ben Johnson who have worked as that have absolutely failed and set franchises back. Like, you could go through, and the hit rate is probably less than 50-50 in terms of actually working versus not working. There's a lot of guys that come in because they're the hot thing, Matt Nagy being one of them, and are like an utter failure. I found it interesting that he decided, Ben Johnson that is, that Caleb Williams was basically the sole reason he wanted to come to Chicago, which makes sense. First overall pick was talked about as a generational prospect.
Totally.
But it'll be interesting. Will that be Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid marriage and kind of not really matter what happens, even though the Chiefs do have a great defense, but you're going to have a good enough offense regardless. It's going to keep you competitive. Or are the McCaskies, Kevin Warren, and Ryan Poles going to be a detriment that is hard for those two players to get over? Like, there are plenty of failure points in this process. I like Ben Johnson, like what he's done. I mean, I think Jared Goff owes him probably close to $50 million in terms of what he's earned since going to Detroit on the contract. Because I don't think Jared Goff is going to be nearly as good without Ben Johnson. But this is a big bet. They got what they needed. They're paying him $13 million a year, which is higher than some pretty big names, John Harbaugh, Matt LaFleur, Nick Sirianni. Like, there's some pretty established head coaches there. In terms of his comments on beating Matt LaFleur, like, yeah, he does have that over him. There has been success. Yeah. He does not now have the roster that comes with that success of beating Matt LaFleur, as we know.
Wait a minute. I forget what happened in Week 18.
No, I'm saying the roster of the Lions, the deep, young, explosive roster.
But he does have a roster that just beat the Green Bay Packers.
Right. Do we think the Bears are better than the Packers?
No,
like they
beat Malik Willis.
They broke a historically long streak.
They did.
Like, I'm proud of them. It was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, 11 in a row. It's a pretty good streak. It's 5.5 years.
It's just, he had to say that. They all pander in some way. He does have that over him. I think it's corny. I think the delivery was bad. Obviously, he's nervous. You give him some breath there. But, like, I think you're better off just pretending like the Packers don't exist, because guess what? Matchup number 1, if you don't win that is going to be played and played and played and played. And it's not going to be fun in the locker room or the next game leading up if the Packers sweep you. Then what? You're going to have to answer to that. Well, what happened here? And how are you going to handle that? Because life isn't going to be as nice as it was in Detroit. There was talent everywhere. There was young ascending players. Can Caleb and Ben Johnson figure it out? I have my doubts on why it would, but I do understand why he would go there.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think it's a quick turnaround. I just don't.
Does he regret not making the Commanders turn around in air?
But here's the thing. That's not a guarantee either. I mean, what Dan Quinn went in there and did, and what Cliff Kingsbury has done, and we've mentioned this a few times in the last few weeks, is really impressive. Dan Quinn is an established head coach in this league. That goes back to the Mike McCarthy factor I was talking about. Could McCarthy go into Chicago and clean it up in 1 year? Maybe. I don't know that Ben Johnson could do that as a first-time head coach. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overestimating the previously a successful head coach in the NFL thing. But I don't know if Ben Johnson goes to Washington and does what Dan Quinn's done. I really don't.
I also think there's something to be said for a guy like Dan Quinn. Whenever I heard him speak as the Cowboys coordinator, he felt like he could lead an entire locker room. Whether you're a hardcore great X's and O's coach and a scheme guy, you can tell the coaches that can lead an entire locker room. I don't feel that from Ben Johnson right now. And that's where I feel the most worried for Bears fans, is I don't know if he's a guy that come week 15, week 16 of a season, whatever his messaging is going to resonate, and he feels like a guy that can lead an entire team. He could completely change that, but like even Matt LaFleur, granted, yes, he was nervous in his first press conference. There was still a level of, I'm like, yeah, I see it. I can see him being a leader. Right now, I'm just not seeing it from Ben Johnson.
We will see. Very corny is what we've seen so far, but we will. I haven't watched the full press conference in all honesty, so we will see. All right, quick trivia, then we'll get to my second free agent crush, and then we will get to one word, and then we will wrap up the show with what we learned. Joshy and Hunter, I want you both to play along. Unless you've already seen this, then you're disqualified. Aaron Glenn becomes one of 5 active NFL head coaches that have played for the organization they now lead. Can you name the other 4? Aaron Glenn back in the day playing for the Jets.
Bart Starr.
No, currently.
Oh, currently.
Currently, there are 4
Are we counting
others.
Vrabel then?
Yes, Vrabel, it does count. Vrabel is correct. He is one of the other 4. 3 left.
Dan Campbell?
That is correct. He did play for the Lions.
D'Amico Ryan?
One. Yeah, that's the obvious one. D'Amico Ryan's with the Texans. This one, I didn't even realize this guy played for them.
It's going to be like Harbaugh or someone?
It is Harbaugh. It's Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers. Yeah. You got it. Wow. Clean sweep. Nicely done, fellas. Aaron Glenn with the Jets, Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, Dan Campbell with the Lions, Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, and D'Amico Ryans with the Texans. The 5 NFL head coaches that played for those teams. That's got to be a record, I would imagine.
Like at one time? I don't know.
Well, maybe back in the day it was more common.
I feel like this in the
because like Curly Lambeau, Bart Starr, etc.
Just sometimes you both played and coached.
Correct. Yes. So I imagine like since what 1980.
Yeah,
it's a record. I mean that's a lot. It's 5 of 32. That ain't bad. Interesting. All right. So this one I don't know if crush is even the right word, but I told you about DJ Reed and how I want the Packers to target him this offseason. There was an announcement this morning that caught my eye. And it's not like this dude is the game wrecker he once was, but he brings some veteran leadership at a position of need for the Packers. Khalil Mack this morning announcing he's going to play another season. He wasn't very good with the Chargers this year. Played 16 games, he had 20 tackles. Did have 6 sacks, though, which I believe would lead the team or very close to it for the Packers this year. Brings us some depth, brings us some veteran leadership. This is a guy who was an all-pro, one of the best defensive players, period, in the NFL for a stretch, both in his time in Oakland and then, obviously, we remember Chicago. He's 33 years old. I think it's very unlikely. But I'm in on Khalil Mack if the Packers can get him for cheap.
He would be.
Joshy's laughing at me.
That's such a normie take.
It's a depth piece. I don't think it fixes anything.
The
so why would you want him?
Preston Smith.
Let me rephrase. I think it provides more explosive depth than you already have. I don't know if he's an every down guy, but still got 6 sacks this year.
I'm sure he's explosive. He's going to be 34 entering next season.
Yeah, that's true. He turns 34 next month.
I can tell you as someone that has just turned 33, you're not as explosive anymore. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, happy birthday, by the way. Hunter celebrating his birthday over the weekend. Didn't respond to my birthday text, but that's beside the point.
He's got a lot of people hitting him up.
No, I don't know how to respond to that stuff. I try to ignore it.
He's got to talk to Corey and Wally about it on the damn sports show in Beaver Dam.
Yeah, Thursday, 4:30.
Can't wait.
Big timed.
I got big time for the damn sports show.
Happy birthday. I usually just respond with a thanks or heart it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't respond to a lot of stuff, I'll be honest. Unless it's like work related, I'm not responding to your text. I don't.
I thought I sent a nice text too.
You did. It was very nice. So thank you.
I'm going to read it.
I just don't.
Sunday, 12:19 p.m. Happy birthday, brother. Appreciative of your friendship. Hope it's a great day.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
A single response.
Feels a little formal, though, doesn't it? Appreciative for your friendship.
I do that on everybody's birthday. I would say the same thing to you.
Oh, so then it actually wasn't that heartfelt. If you're sending it to everybody, I'm just another one on the list.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, now I don't feel bad. Get bent.
I think birthdays are a good opportunity to express your gratitude for the relationship you have with that person.
Great, but you send the same thing to everybody.
No, not the exact same phrasing.
Sometimes he says grateful for your friendship.
Grateful, or can't wait to hang out with you later, or whatever, right? Like, I think it is the annual opportunity to express gratitude. That's the way I view birthdays.
You and Aaron Rodgers.
What do you mean?
Gratitude guys.
I'm a gratitude guy. I'm very grateful for my life. I love my life. Is there anything? Okay, you got a problem with that?
Great. Happy for you.
Do you not?
How did his birthday message become about you?
Classic Strouf.
No. Joshy
pulling
bent
a
me
Ben
into
Brust.
a pretzel is what happened there. No, that was Joshy. Joshy led it to me. He bent me in a pretzel, and he somehow got me to bring it back to me. Because he said, you and Aaron Rodgers, gratitude guys. I said, I view it as an opportunity to express gratitude. I imagine other people view birthdays that way. That's why we used to do handwritten cards on birthdays, which I'm glad we're kind of done with, to be honest. But that's beside the point. Any further thoughts?
Nope. Happy birthday, Hunter.
Right.
Thank you. I don't like attention on my birthday, so.
Happy birthday. Real quick.
To you.
Every Wednesday we play One Word Wednesday. Hunter provides me a list of topics or phrases or any of the in-betweens. I respond with one word. Sometimes Joshy plays along if I'm not doing a good job. So here we go. Let's play One Word Wednesday.
Dan Hurley, the head coach of UConn men's basketball, yelled at a ref and said, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in the sport."
Clown.
Douche.
I mean, he's a, what's the word? Basket case, probably the right word for this. The dude's got an ego, and rightfully so. One of the best coaches in the country. I mean, what they've been the last 2 years is unbelievable, right? Dominant the last 2 years. This year, not so much. Still a good team, but he is just a clown. He is so over the top. I'm not a fan of it, to be real honest with you. Did not like that line either. You think I make it about me, Joshy? In a sport that is about the players, that guy says, "I'm the best coach in the country." Listen to me.
To defend him, which I don't really see a need for, it's pretty damn good.
Yes.
A lot of success.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Bucks at Pelicans postponed due to ice and snow in New Orleans.
Weather. Snowing here in Milwaukee, snowing in New Orleans, snowing in Florida. The University of Florida canceled classes yesterday. It was negative 15 degrees in Madison yesterday. I was there yesterday morning. The University of Wisconsin goes on like nothing happened.
I mean, that was a 1.2 out of 10 on effort. Weather. You didn't even go blizzard. Snow. You went weather.
Yeah, I'm a little sad here. I'll make it about me. I was supposed to fill in on Bucks Plus, Bucks in 6 minutes tonight. Axed.
Well, good. I can make it about me. I'll be on the radio for Prep Mania tonight, not just the YouTube only. Big matchup in the Big
Wow.
8. Middleton at Vel Phillips Memorial. Oh, yeah. Moving on, CC Sabathia.
Awesome.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Deserved.
Horse.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I guess that's 2 words.
Rental.
Worthy.
Maybe the MLB's all-time greatest post-trade deadline rental.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a take. You'd really have to get in the weeds to figure out the answer to that. But
it would be like there
can't be that many better than that.
Right. In terms of all-time stretches and importance,
he was great in 08.
The Brewers don't sniff the postseason without basically him being the best pitcher to ever live for like 8 games.
Yes, correct. For 8 games. He was awesome, no doubt. So worthy. Yeah, Ichiro, by the way. 1 vote away from unanimous.
I'd like to wring that person's neck.
Well,
I mean, what
you stole my what I learned, but I wasn't going to go to the Ichiro thing.
Well, my answer is ring. WRING. Ring for Ichiro being snubbed of unanimous.
Yeah, especially when he's. I pulled up his stats: 10-time All-Star, AL MVP, AL Rookie of the Year, 10 Golden Gloves, 3 Silver Sluggers, 2 AL batting champions, AL stolen base leader as a rookie, and MLB record 226 hits in a single season.
Did he ever hit under like 300?
Not until 2010.
Like he was over 300 his entire. He was over 300.
9
like
straight years
career.
over 300. And once he went under, it was a 270 season. And he was like banged up through the year.
He would have set the MLB record for hits all time had he not played in Japan for as long as he did.
Right?
I mean, just like an all-time great baseball player.
No doubt. Anyway, what's next?
Ryan Braun will be eligible for the Hall of Fame next year.
Okay. I mean, 0% chance. I mean, what do you want me to say here? He's not getting in. Alex Rodriguez got like 20% of the vote this year. Ryan Braun's going to get like 4 votes.
Wisconsin and Marquette are both in the top 20 for men's basketball.
Yeah. State. How about Pride? That's my word. Pride. Tough loss for Wisconsin last night. A 7'3" Alex Strouf goes off for a career night. Did you guys see this dude? He kind of looked like me.
It didn't.
No.
Mara, I don't know how to say his first name, so I'm not even going to try. Mara, he comes off the bench. He's 7'3" for UCLA last night. The 8:30 tip, past Josh's bedtime.
Well past.
Mara comes out. He's 7'3", dude. He's lanky as hell, skinny. Scores 20 points. His previous career high was like 12 in a blowout game earlier in the year against Lehigh. He played like the whole game.
as much as it is to the detriment of the Badgers this time around, I do love that just a giant gleep can dominate college basketball still for stretches. Like that guy, and like I mean, Zach Edey does have a career. He's probably better than people gave him credit for while he was in college. But the fact that just a giant guy can matter, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I do too. But he's like a skinny Zach Edey. I mean, so he's from Spain, and he kind of looks like I don't know how else to explain this. Hunter, if you could look for a picture of Mara and we could pop it up before the end of the show.
Man.
Kind of looks like a 7'3" version of me, younger me, but a 7'3" version of me.
More handsome.
And no, and impossible.
He looks nothing like you.
Well, pull up the picture, and we will debate. But the dude went off. Now, last night the Badgers shot over 50% from outside. They've hit 14 threes. They shot over 50% from the field. They out-rebounded UCLA, and they still lost the game. Because of this guy. He's a Mara. Crazy. I mean, like, that doesn't happen.
I've almost got him up here. There we go.
All right, sounds good. All right. Here, well, his hair is longer right now.
Okay.
But big ears.
His hair
looks nothing like you.
It is. He's got more of a shaggy look right now, like what I rock.
He doesn't look like you at all.
Big ears, slender.
You somehow turned a
7'3"
Badgers loss
now.
into about you. Ohio State wins the national championship for college football.
All right. This is more than one word. I'm going to say it. I was wrong. I was wrong about the 12-team playoff.
Why not just wrong?
Yeah.
Me wrong. I wrong.
You just
12-team playoff delivered. 12-team playoff delivered. It did.
That was your take. I forgot if that was.
What was my take?
That it wasn't going to be good.
No, I was open to it, but
I've 12 of the best teams in the nation.
I've always been. Well, I mean, look, but if you watch the first round of the playoff, it sucked.
Yeah, was the wild card round good?
Packers Eagles was good.
Are you sure?
look at how many
I mean,
games it
wasn't
takes
fun for
college
me,
basketball in their first round to have actually good games. A lot of them are blowouts, and you need 32 games over 2 days to get 4 actually good games.
So don't get me wrong. Okay, hold on. I think we're misconstruing it. I've been anti-12-team playoff because I don't think playoff teams typically, like 6 through 12, belong. Obviously, the way they did the rankings, Ohio State was the 8th seed or 7th seed, whatever they were.
8.
Yeah, they were the 8. Notre Dame was the 7th. And those are two good teams, right? Notre Dame played a little bit better than I think anybody expected. Ohio State, dominant, beat Oregon, beat Texas, beat down on Notre Dame, not as much as the score indicated. I just kind of thought, conference champs are the best teams in football. Of course, if you can get a second Big Ten team in, if you can get a second or third SEC team in, sure, I get the case there. But, does SMU really belong here? No. Does Boise State really belong here? No.
I mean, Arizona State did.
Boise State made it a game.
I did.
The miscalculation you made, and you weren't alone in this, is NIL and the revenue sharing that's eventually coming here has balanced the scales in a way where a Clemson dynasty, an Alabama dynasty, a Texas dynasty, those are less likely. They'll certainly still happen, and there'll probably be teams to win back-to-back. That's just the nature of the sport. But the playing fields have leveled in a way that I think is informative to this coming probably at the right time. Because, LSU a few years ago with Joe Burrow and that super team, 12 teams would have been interesting.
Yeah, nobody was touching them.
They would have won by 50 against whoever they played.
Correct. So, maybe the NIL evens out the playing field a little bit more. You know what I actually thought after this 12-team playoff? Wisconsin is nowhere close. They're nowhere close.
You didn't figure that out?
Yeah,
5?
But here's the thing. With how quickly things can turn around in college football, typically maybe you can buy yourself some hope. So if they were a 7-5 team this year, Joshy, maybe you're going, okay. Get to 10 wins, you're probably in pretty good shape.
It's a good thing the Big Ten got easier.
Did it?
No, it's way worse.
They're nowhere close.
Yeah, I'm just ignoring that they're not even close. I'm just like kind of collectively, I'm going to watch college football because I like college football, but I'm just like, I'm checked out from that.
And this Xavier Lucas situation, dude. I mean, come on. If you ever read into this, just look up the name Xavier Lucas. Wisconsin corner. He signed a multiple-year contract through an NIL deal with Wisconsin, broke it after his freshman year, now transfers to the University of Miami. Wisconsin claims there was tampering. He didn't live up to his contract. I mean, it is just the most NIL as a cluster bleep thing ever.
The rev sharing aspect there is what would change it from the NIL stuff and the commitment there because of that contract that would be signed. The one comment I have is it needs to be figured out, and somebody needs to... there needs to be a liaison or a overseeing party. You would think that'd be the NCAA. Clearly, they are not interested.
It's not going to be them. Yeah.
They have zero interest.
Hunter's laughed at.
Yeah, they've never shown interest. But I just wish the Badgers weren't the ones leading the charge and trying to do precedent-setting cases. Let that be someone else.
No.
I don't think that looks too good to the kids in Southern Florida who are like, "What the hell? Why are they doing that?"
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. All right, Hunter. Got any more?
Yeah, we've got 4 more here. The Washington Commanders.
Electric. I mean, they're really fun. Jaden Daniels is the full story.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Irritating.
The Buffalo Bills.
Tables.
And you can't use annoying, but the Kansas City Chiefs.
Can I use irritating again?
No.
Frustrating?
There you go. I was going to say, go through the thesaurus.
Now, parody would probably be my word. I can't root for them.
I'm rooting for three-peat.
Yeah, you like history. I get it.
Yeah, it would be
like
so cool
too,
to see history.
I just kind of don't want a team to ever three-peat. I don't want that.
Oh, I want them to six-peat.
What are we doing here?
See, you sound like the baseball writers who are like, oh, no, we can only have one unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. That's got to be Mariano Rivera. So I'm not going to vote for Ichiro, even though he deserves it. Like, that's what that sounds like.
Imagine the debates you can have with your buds after Mahomes rips off 3 in a row. Better than Tom Brady.
I think we can already have that conversation. Talent-wise, I'm taking Mahomes.
Yeah, but we did this with Aaron Rodgers, and then he fell way short, and it became no longer.
Yeah, but that's
3 in a row, 4 in how many years?
And then you can even have the conversation of like the three-peat Chiefs against those 90s Cowboys or the Raiders or the Steelers of the 70s.
The undefeated Dolphins.
Yeah. I want another team to join that conversation.
Goats.
So you guys are both rooting for the Chiefs this weekend?
Well, I can't root for anybody in the NFC.
Yeah.
Like, that game's completely ruined.
Yeah, that's fair. As a Cowboys fan, I can't imagine how you feel.
Bills would be a good. I would be happy for Josh Allen, our Bills fan friends, which are mainly one person, two people you could say here that we work with.
Technically, yeah.
But yeah, I would be happy. The consolation prize is if they lose this week. I think the AFC wins the Super Bowl regardless. Whoever they enter into that affair with, be it most likely the Eagles. I'd be happy to see Josh Allen win. I think that'd be cool. And it would make the then debate of the AFC interesting of like who's going to dominate now in the future. But like this is the Chiefs. And I learned my lesson. Everyone should have learned their lessons. Just don't bet against the Chiefs until they make you stop.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's not like I'm betting on the Bills this weekend.
Right.
You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes in January and February.
I'm upset they're not giving us them as underdogs anymore, though. That was a good run.
Oh, they're at home. I mean, you're not going to get.
Yeah, and they're only like 2. But all last season, they were losing every game until they won them all.
I went to a Bills bar week 1 of the season with the aforementioned Bills fans.
You can mention that place. People listening probably are well aware of it.
The Bills Bar in Milwaukee. No free advertising.
Advertise with
Nailed it.
Irrelevant.
No, I had a college professor that called advertisements advertisements.
Advertisements, yeah.
And I always got a kick out of that. Mark Tolstead, I hope he's doing well. So anyways, that's Stenny's. And they do this thing where essentially it just ends with, and Josh Allen makes me want to shout. And I thought that was fun. All right, time now for what we learned. That is not what I learned. You learn something new every day. We learned something new today. It's time now for What We Learned. We start in the camp of Joshy DiMaggio.
Eastern Carolina punter Luke Larson has officially entered the NCAA transfer portal. Larson is 32 years old and the oldest college football player.
Remember when Hunter said, as somebody that just turned 33, you're not as good as you once were?
Get a job, is what I have to say to Luke.
Luke Larson.
Yeah.
Disagrees.
Enter the
The best part
workforce.
is he's a punter. He's a punter.
Yeah. So,
right, so it's not like an NFL team's going to go, we're taking a chance on that guy.
We need the 34-year-old punter after he finishes his extra
How does
year.
he still have eligibility left?
Well, he's Australian.
Oh, okay.
He joined during the COVID year, 2020.
Oh.
So he has that extra year of eligibility.
So he was, what, 28 when he joined?
Yes. So he he's only been punting for about 3 years. I believe his
You know what?
freshman year.
This actually makes Doug Gottlieb look fine. You know, the 24-year-old, I'm forgetting what country he was from now.
Like Latvia or something.
I think it was Israel.
Could be.
The 24-year-old Israel student that just came over. He's a 24-year-old freshman.
Is how we tense that.
Thank you. That's why you're here.
Big J journalism, Alex Strouf.
Why did I make this show?
I don't know.
Why in the world did I say, hey, you know what the two people around me should be on this show? The two people that give me the most crap. That sounds like it would be good for me. Be good for my mental health.
For the audience.
Yeah, I'm sure people love it.
Hunter, what'd you learn?
Well, since you stole my Ichiro stuff, being a fan is really difficult at times. On Saturday, after leaving the Chicago Blackhawks game with my father, who is a lifelong Washington football fan, had to listen to the Commanders' home radio broadcast of them advancing to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 33 years, while London Fletcher was on color. So that'd be the equivalent for Packer fans of having to listen to the Bears broadcast and Brian Urlacher being on the color for that. As a Cowboys fan, that was awful. But at the same time, my dad hasn't seen his favorite team playing an NFC Championship game in 33 years. So I had a lot of conflicting feelings and couldn't fully express my frustration in the car, and tried to be happy for my dad. And that was not fun.
So, have
Nothing.
you seen the Cowboys play in an NFC Championship game in 33 years?
It'll be 29 years now that they haven't made it, okay?
So you were 4?
Yeah.
So, do you remember that?
I was going to say, were you a Cowboys
Barely.
fan at 4?
That was like my parents were like, yeah, you fell in love with the blue and the silver. Yeah, Dion was awesome.
Do we think you're going to break your father's record?
Oh.
Yeah, I think I might have to wait a while.
I would guess yes. Yeah, I think so too.
I had a bet in the office with some people. Over the next 10 years, what's more likely? The Cowboys get to a Super Bowl or the Bears get to a Super Bowl?
Well, here's my secondary bet. Does Jerry Jones die in the next 5?
Oh, Jesus.
This got dark.
Well,
I would guess no.
if we were to look at the Dallas Cowboys,
I would guess
Who's
he's
at
good for at least 5 years.
who's at the top of reasons success hasn't been had?
He is
Ian
number
Manoa.
1.
Okay. Just wanted to. His son seems actually pretty good at his job.
All right, so what I learned. So Bill Connolly is a college football writer for ESPN. And every year, Billy, every year he does the final 2024 college football top 764 between
Oh, no.
NAIA, NCAA, Division II, Division III. Every college football program in the country is on this ranking of 764.
Question. I've never heard of this.
Okay.
I'm fascinated by it.
Yep.
I think Bill might be overstepping the possibilities of knowledge possible in the human brain.
So it
Do
is,
any
it is an
teams-
algorithm.
Okay. Do any teams rise above their conference and outrank some, like, doesn't NIA, whatever that league is.
NAIA.
Whatever there it is. Do they rank higher than, like, say, the team's division above them? Or does it pretty much go verbatim?
No, it's pretty verbatim. I can send you the spreadsheet. But like,
I'll be honest, if
Montana
I had to
State,
imagine,
for example. No, go ahead, Hunter.
if I had to guess from doing a lot of Division III games at Oshkosh, you would probably get some, like, the D3 champion North Central jumping up ahead of up into the Division II schools, that kind of a thing.
That is exactly where they are.
Yep, and then like D2's champions, what was it, Ferris State, probably jumping up with some FCS. Look at me, I just know ball.
Yeah, you're totally right. So Division III is actually up with most of the FCS. But Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota State are all way up in, like, for example, North Dakota State is one spot behind UCLA. So
probably ahead of
Yes,
Wisconsin.
to
then.
your point, Josh, it is still pretty segmented, but there is some crossover.
Now, buried the lead here. I imagine this is Badgers related.
It is not.
Whoa. Okay, well, here's a question. Badgers over under 70th.
Under.
I got to find them. Hold on. I mean, the spreadsheet is huge, Josh.
Control F.
I'm saying
it's not a
they're
spreadsheet,
40.
though. It's a picture of the spreadsheet. So I can't control F it. I will continue to look. I would guess they are right around 70. I'm not seeing them yet, though. Boy,
I think they're in the. There's no way they're down into the 70s.
Well,
I think
Maryland
they're
is
40s.
89th. Did Maryland make a bowl game? No. Okay, apparently we don't know. All right, this is good stuff, guys. Really, really good.
Great
good.
content.
Oh, there they are. They're number 60. Wisconsin's number 60.
How do you not?
They were on the very top. I missed them.
What?
Now, why I bring that up? Okay, Wisconsin's number 60. Why I bring this up? UW Whitewater, for example, 396. Okay, right in the middle of the pack. Reminder: there are 764 college football teams in the country.
Mater here.
Sure are.
Dead
Would you
last.
like to know where Stevens Point is?
Dead last. They were
Not
garbage.
dead last.
Bottom 10?
They are not bottom 10, but they are darn close. Out of 764 teams, UW Stevens Point ranks last in their conference
Yep.
and 696th in the country. There are only, a reminder, there are 764 college football programs in the country. 764. They view my alma mater as one of the 70 worst, and the worst in the state, and the worst in the conference.
I mean, you're behind teams that are probably having to have, like, bake sales to field teams and have jerseys.
Yeah. That's a tough look for
You know
head
what
coach Luke
Alfredo
Finet.
State is? Alfredo State?
No.
They're ahead of them. Rippin'?
Hey.
Rippins.
Hey, don't
Rippon's
disrespect the
40
Red
spots
Hawks.
ahead of them.
Yeah.
The Red Hawks are 41 spots ahead of them.
Yeah, the Midwest Conference, that's a good conference. Don't disrespect it.
Concordia, exactly on the dot, 100 spots ahead of them. 596.
Yeah.
696 of 764 teams. Embarrassing. All right, we're way over time. I had to get that off my chest. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We're back with you Friday beginning at 12:30 Central. I got to cool off. Joshy, any parting shots before we go?
No.
All right. We'll talk to you Friday beginning at 12:30. Preview championship weekend. We will continue to talk Packers offseason. That's coming up Friday. Big thanks to Hunter. Big thanks to Joshy. I'm Alex Strouf. We'll talk to you Friday. Peace.